Let's go on the record. Now, I want you to imagine something. What if I told you that some of the biggest moments in our recent history, the ones that shocked the world, the ones that changed everything, what if I told you that they were already written? Now, not by historians looking back, not by journalists reporting it as it's happened, but by Hollywood screenwriters, novelists, and TV producers decades before they even occurred. What is predictive programming? Well, predictive programming is this. It is a concept that media, movies, shows, music videos, they are used to desensitize the public to planned events by showing you first a fictional version first, then when the real event happens, it just doesn't feel as shocking. It's like you've already seen it, you've laughed about it, you've consumed it. It's like a magician is showing you the trick before performing it. But here's where it gets crazy. Predictive programming isn't just subliminal messaging, it's psychological conditioning. Now, it trains a society to accept certain ideas, global surveillance, population control, even fake alien invasions as inevitable or even normal. This is a known phenomenon. By wrapping it in humor and animation, it tends to disarm us. It's easier to laugh it off than to see it for what it is, a massive disclosure under the guise of comedy. They rely on the fact that most people will say, oh, it's just a cartoon, or oh, it's just comedy. But repetition is key, and when you're constantly fed images of controlled demolitions, AI overlords, secret societies, and global resets, if it just becomes familiar. Now, familiar becomes acceptable, and acceptable becomes what? Well, it becomes reality. Welcome back to Robbi on the Record. I am Robbi Jan, and today we are going to dive into one of the most controversial topics in media analysis, and that is predictive programming. We're going to examine documented cases where fiction became reality with disturbing accuracy, and we're going to ask the uncomfortable questions about who it is that is writing these scripts and why they keep coming true. We're going to explore whether what we call entertainment might actually be something else entirely, because here's what I can prove to you today. The line between fiction and prediction isn't always as clear as maybe they want you to believe. But first, let's define terms, because this is something that is a known phenomenon. Predictive programming is this communication theory, and it is the process of informing the population about events that are planned to happen through fictional media. The theory suggests this, that by repeatedly exposing audiences to specific scenarios through entertainment, the public becomes psychologically prepared to accept these events when they actually occur in reality. Whether this is intentional or coincidental is kind of where this debate is beginning. But what is not up for debate is this. There are many documented instances where fiction preceded reality with remarkable precision. Let's start with one of the most cited cases of apparent predictive programming, and that is the September 11th attacks. In 2001, a show called The Lone Gunman, which is a spin-off of The X-Files, aired a pilot episode with the exact plot. A government agent hijacks a commercial airliner using remote control technology, and they attempt to fly it into where? The World Trade Center to justify increased military spending. That episode aired on March 4th, 2001, but that is not the only example. In 1998, The Siege showed coordinated terrorist attacks in New York. This was then followed by martial law, mass detentions, and civil liberties being suspended. 3 years later, the Patriot Act made that fiction a legal reality. 1996 executive decision featured terrorists hijacking a commercial airliner to weaponize it against a US city. And even earlier, 1994's Depth of Honor by Tom Clancy depicted a pilot flying a 747 into the Capitol building during a joint session of Congress. These aren't vague guesses. These are plot lines that mirror future headlines with disturbing clarity. And before we go further, we need to talk about the king of so-called predictions, and that is The Simpsons. And we are not just talking about a couple of lucky guesses. Now, if you remember episode 1, we covered the Pazuzu toy prediction that paralleled the Labubu controversy. Now, a few highlights. In 2000, Donald Trump becomes president. 16 years early. They showed him descending the escalator years before the real footage occurred. Now, in 1995, they featured smartwatches and video calls decades ahead. In 1998, Disney buys 20th Century Fox 19 years before it even happened. In 2012, they mirrored Lady Gaga's Super Bowl performance 5 years early. 1997, The Simpsons seemed to predict the terrorist attacks of 9/11 in the episode The City of New York versus Homer Simpson. Now, again, these are not vague ideas. These are very specific imagery with very specific outcomes over and over again. So ask yourself this. How does a cartoon predict reality with this level of consistency? Let's fast forward to 2010 and let's take our attention away from The Simpsons just for a minute. What kind of stories were being told before COVID-19? Start with Contagion. 2011, a global pandemic from a bat virus. It spread through droplets, leading to lockdowns, social unrest, and supply chain failures. This film showed mask mandates, it showed contract tracing, vaccine rollouts, social distancing, business closures, and of course, global panic. Now, The Eyes of Darkness, 1981, described Wuhan 400, which was a fictional virus from Wuhan that then spread globally. Meanwhile, the World Economic Forum ran Event 201 in October 2019, just months before the real pandemic, modeling the coronavirus outbreak with eerily similar outcomes. Was this accidental or were these rehearsals? The pattern goes beyond world events and it actually reaches even deeper into technology. 2001, A Space Odyssey from 1968 predicted this: video calling, tablet computers, voice-activated AI. Now, this is decades before any of it was possible to the mainstream media. Minority Report 2002 showed facial recognition, predictive programming, gesture interfaces, personalized ads. Now, all of these things currently exist. And if you've ever heard of the show Black Mirror, social credit systems, deepfakes, VR addiction, this is all part of our real digital landscape. How are entertainment writers predicting this so precisely? Maybe they're not predicting, maybe they're previewing. Now, before we go off the record, I want to take a moment to thank one of the partners making today's episode possible, Lumiér Label Blue Light Glasses Reimagined. Now, this is one unisex frame you can wear it 4 different ways. There are 3 magnetic interchangeable lenses that you can use to switch from yellow to blue to black in polarized lenses. Here's the truth. If you are staring at screens, then blue light is actually messing with your circadian rhythms, it's straining our eyes, and it's even disrupting our hormones. So protect your eyes and head to lumiérlabel.com and use the code ONTHERECORD for $20 off. Now, let me go off the record for a second. And no, I don't think that there is this evil group of Hollywood elites that sits in a basement deciding world events. I think it's something else entirely that we will talk about another day. But I do think this: the same people funding film and TV, they often sit on the boards of companies, tech companies, governments, and global organizations. They know what's happening, they know what's coming because they are planning it. So when they predict something in fiction, they're not guessing the future, they're normalizing it. This is something being manifested. And by doing this, they're accomplishing 2 major things. 1, they're desensitizing us. 2, they're also training us to accept it when this becomes real. This is conditioning. It's clever, it's subtle, and it's highly effective. And in 2020, it worked. We accepted surveillance, lockdowns, and restrictions because we'd already seen it in the scripts. But here's what really keeps me up at night. If predictive programming is real, then what is being scripted right now? More climate lockdowns, digital currency, social credit, biometric tracking. These aren't fringe theories. These are things being shown in media and they're being discussed in policy rooms today as we speak. Here's where it gets deeper. Many occult traditions, they teach something called karmic disclosure. Karmic disclosure is the idea that if you reveal your intentions, you are going to be absolved from guilt. You've been warned, even if it was through fiction. From a biblical worldview, this actually makes a lot of sense. Satan is known as the father of lies. It says that in John 8:44. But even he knows he can't operate outside of God's permission. So what does he do? Well, he hides in plain sight, he makes evil look entertaining, he conditions us to accept godless systems, and that's why in Hosea 4:6 it says this verse, it says, "My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge." 1 John 4:1, it says this: "Test the spirits. Not everything that appears good is good." And if we don't pay attention, we become passive participants in our own spiritual deception. I want to hear from you guys. It's your turn to go on the record. What examples have you seen of predictive programming? What current shows or films are making you feel just a little bit uneasy? Comment below or email the show. The link is here, and tag us at Robbi on the record. And you can also send us a video message for a chance to be featured in next week's episode. By the way, guys, we are launching an exclusive monthly newsletter. So if you'd like to receive that, join the family, join the fun, click the link down below to sign up. There is some really exciting stuff that we have coming up, and I want you to be the first to know about it. And on top of that, we're also giving away a pair of Lumiér Label glasses, the blue light glasses that we've been talking about. And I'm really excited for you to get your hands on them. That competition is going to end at the end of September. I'll see you at the next episode.